Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. You can follow us at Handelabra Games on Twitch and Handelabra on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can follow me personally at Logic Dolphin on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, pretty much any avenue. Xenos the Multiverse, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island are all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices, and One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch. You can find more information on those games at handelabra.com. Wait, it's been a while, hasn't it? I did not stream last week. I was taking a big streaming hiatus even for my personal channel. I don't remember if I was streaming the week before that either. It's kind of been weird. Yeah, oh yeah, because that was the 4th of July weekend, so I didn't stream that weekend either. So, or actually that day was the 4th of July period. It's been 3 weeks since the last Dolphins dive. Feels like it's been a very long time though. I've been, well, I've definitely streamed this year, yes, we can say that much. That's for sure. Hello, Evil Dice Monkey, how are you doing? Let's do the streaming thing, I guess. The thing I've just been doing, because it's just such a massive backlog, is to go through the one-shots, because it kind of gives us a plethora of little mini-games. Mini-games? I don't know if mini-games is the right word, but we're over here now. Last one we did was Challenge Progeny, which wasn't much of a challenge because we didn't keep any scions out or something. I say scion, but it's like they're not really scions like from Oblivion. It's just like an effect, which is weird. You are doing hot, not me doing hot. You are doing hot. Please throw around as much cold damage as possible. Sure thing. Let's go to Insula Primalis because I guess that's next on the docket. Better late than never. It was quiet in the base, too quiet. Knife reckoned, too quiet, Knife reckoned. The team spread out, on the alert for any citizens of the sun. The former filter agent stepped into Citizen Dawn's hall and saw a woman on the throne, but it wasn't Dawn. It was a dead woman who laughed sharply upon seeing her. Perfect! Did you forget about me, little hero? I have not forgotten our last encounter, and I have made some good choices, but they won't be good for you. This one shot requires vengeance and the Season 2 preview pack. Season 2 preview pack, oh gosh. These are predating Oblivion. June 20th, 2017. Man, that's 5 years ago. What were you doing 5 years ago? Better late than never. Advanced choke point in Insula Primalis with Adamant Sentinels, Hunted Naturalist, and Knife at Insula Primalis. I'm guessing this was like the last advanced villain to appear in a one-shot is the whole theme of it all. Let's see what happens. What hope do you have? The metal in all things calls to me, and I answer with commands. Everyone, into Alpha formation, just like we practiced. We're ready for this. Alright, so what's going on here? Well, first let's look at cards, I guess. Adamant Sentinels have Coliginous Form, Dark Delusions, Horrifying Dichotomy, and Telekinetic Wallet. Excuse me. Hunted Naturalist has Indomitable Force, Natural Form's Power, Primal Charge, and the Predator's Eye. Knife has Battlefield Experience, Focusing Conduit Blade, Incidental Contact, and Infiltrate and Obfuscate. So what's so special about Choke Point here? She starts with nothing. At the start of the villain turn, if there are 3 or more face-down cards in the villain play area, Choke Point flips. Whenever Choke Point destroys a non-character card target, it is placed face-down in the villain play area. Face-down cards in the villain play area cannot be affected in any way. At the end of the villain turn, Choke Point deals the hero target with the highest HP 2 energy damage. But in addition, at the end of the villain turn, a player with the most cards in hand puts 1 card from their hand face-down in the villain area. So that accelerates her. On the flip side, at the start of the villain turn, if there are no face-down cards in the villain play area, Choke Point flips. Increased damage dealt by Choke Point by 1 to targets from any deck with a face-down card in the villain play area. Reduce damage dealt two choke point by 1 by targets from any deck with a face down card in the villain play area. Lots of words. At the end of the villain turn, 1 face down card in the villain play area is destroyed. Then choke point deals to hero target with the highest HP for projectile damage. In the advanced rule, the first time a hero card would be discarded each turn, it is put face down in the villain play area instead. First time a hero card would be discarded each turn, it is put face down. So who has discards? Anyone? Anyone? That's not a discard. There's a discard here, isn't it? Isn't there? Discard the top card of each deck or something? If we were to do like Wrecking Uppercut, discard the top card of the villain deck. First time a hero card would be discarded. Okay, so it doesn't affect that one. Oh, hunted, or not hunted, but naturalists in general. If we ever choose to play Shifter's Strength, we discard. So that's something to watch out for on the flip side, I guess. But yeah, so we're gonna put cards face down. We're gonna accelerate choke points for flip side, which makes her deal more damage and have a bit of defense. But cards are now interactable, which I don't think is actually going to do anything. I don't think any of us have cards that say destroy any number of your cards. So. Deal each hero target in any play area with no equipment cards. That's like all of us. Is Colliganus form an equipment? No. But Throw Steel Chains is. Naturalist has no equipments, and Knife has lots of equipments. But yeah, none of us have equipments, and none of us have equipments to give either. And now we have to select someone to put a card in the villain play area. I kind of don't want to select Sentinels here because on the flip side, that's a damage reduction, and we would like to put the minus on choke point. This effect is really powerful against villains that are a single target, so you'd like to maximize that if possible. You have card draws and card plays there. This does card draws though, but anyone can draw. Huh. You do have a lot of card draw on that. You don't have any forms in your hand. There will never be a villain target with the second highest HP. So I guess Infiltration Obfuscate is a good card for this because you can discard it. It's never going to be played. All right. I mean, it could be played just for fodder. Knife does destroy things. Or not knife. Choke point does destroy stuff, right? Obviously. This selects any non-character card from that hero's play area and puts it face down. Deal the hero character card with the most cards in play, which is going to be Sentinels because they have 4 cards in play. Nice. So it's going to be hard to keep Sentinels things in play is what that means. Destroy an equipment card. Select an equipment card. Each player must put 1 card that shares a keyword with the revealed card from their hand face down in the villain play area. This next to an equipment card. Yeah. So equipments are less safe than ongoings, but both can be problematic. I'm going to do Colliganus form because I can. And if it gets put into choke point's play area, then I will call foul. But wait, this is not Matriarch. I kind of want to save Predator's Eye. Save it for when Naturalist is more set up. Plus, we don't have the Croc active yet. This card does nothing right now. This card can do things. We don't want to do Indomitable Force, right? I don't think there's a reason to do that yet. So we're probably just going to select an icon and draw a card then. So I'll just play this one and draw. Is there one that I particularly want for the next play phase? I could select Gazelle and then do card draw on someone, or I could just play this next turn with 2 icons. This one would be Croc. Also allows for card draw. I could use it just to draw cards, but I want to probably save the +1 effect. I'll just go with Gazelle. Ah! I can destroy ongoings now. And the focusing conduit blade is nice, but it's also likely to be selected for some effect. Battlefield experience is just there to get destroyed, I suppose. See, the problem is she doesn't really destroy that stuff, does she? I mean, I guess she does with that. That does actively destroy something. And that, yeah, that doesn't actually destroy it. So I'm not going to get the on destruction effect off of a card like that. I also don't have an equipment card anyway. But you know. I'm gonna, you know, I'm just gonna play it. That's fine. What's the worst that can happen? It gets destroyed? Alright, Insula Primalis, Volcanic Eruption. Yep, going after Sentinels. But we still have the Caligonous form right now. And it's gone. We had the Caligonous form, but it's gone now. Alright, and that shows, yeah, you have to move one of your cards. Fair enough. But that does mean you're flipping now, right? Or not now, but next turn. Yeah, there are 3 cards face down, so we have one of each class. Heroes are now classes, by the way. We have one of each class. Is Cornered Beast likely to work if there are more non-hero targets than hero targets? We have 6 hero targets? It's not too likely. Could use it to destroy a target with 3 or fewer, but it's fine. Yeah, so this thing is happening, and we don't have the means of being immune to environment stuff, although I think it's only targets that we can be immune to. Yeah. The start of the environment turn, deal each target 7 fire damage. That is a lot of damage. So someone's gonna probably have to skip a turn, considering that we do not have the means of destroying that directly. And it's probably Knife that's skipping the turn. You don't really have cards to play, but you would also like to draw a card is the problem. Naturalist, we don't really want to skip the rest of your turn. Although, if you skip your turn, do you still have your active effect? Like, you don't have an end phase, so this doesn't go off? That's a question. You don't really have a reason to keep it, but that's a thought. Let's see, at the start of their turn, a player may skip the rest of their turn to destroy this card. So... There is something that can be done. You can have Indomitable Force out for 2 rounds by putting this into play now and then skipping the rest of Naturalist's turn. We can't do it now, but I mean, like, if the Naturalist gets his turn and then we let the Volcanic Eruption go off. I don't think that's worth, though. Because, 1, we don't have, Actually, we have too many targets for that. Whenever damage be dealt to a hero target, redirect it to Naturalist, and that's going to be 7 minus 1. 6 damage 6 times. Yeah, that kills Naturalist, so that's not really a good plan. But it's the thought that counts. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip Knife. I think most you're doing is 3 damage, and you would like to be more set up, but that's fine. I want the other heroes to keep their turns. I want to keep the -1 there, and I want Naturals to get more set up anyway. So you just have a bunch of one-shots. Could just go for HP recovery. We all have HP to regain. And there's not really any reason to hold off on this. This deals each villain target, so it's just choke point. Yeah. Right? Each villain target? Yeah. So there's no other villain targets anyway, and there's no damage boost on Idealist. I mean, the best we could do is wait for, like, Obsidian Field, but don't really think that's useful. If I had multiple powers, then I could use this to give Knife some card draw so that she still does things on her turn. But then I lose my Gazelle for the next turn. I mean, like, the better combo would be to select the Croc and to draw 4 and deal 3 damage. We don't have ongoing cards to destroy, and we don't need this. So it's going to be skip here because I don't want to play any of these. We don't need the +1, especially when Knife is skipping their turn. Like, we would love to combo, like, the +1 with Incidental Contact and a bunches of other actions. Like, we could get a battlefield experience out too. But we don't have that yet. So I'm going to skip this, and then I'm going to activate the Croc. And I will charge primally. Ah, the Rhinoceros. So once we have that Rhino out, we can start doubling up on, or tripling up on forms. Well, doubling, tripling words. You're skipping your turn. All right. There's an Obsidian Field. Yay! And again, we're moving Sentinel's thing, except you don't have any. So we lost Caliginous form, and it's gonna take ages to find one. Or to get it back, because this goes into your discard. And then you have to reshuffle to get it back. None of these say shuffle, right? This one was discard top 3 cards. You don't have a means of reshuffling our deck without just going through it. Give it to Mainstay. Oh. Then I think we destroy the Sentinels card because we want Sentinels to not have that -1. And this one can go on Naturalist. So the thing to be careful about, the first time a hero card will be discarded, it is put face down. So let's avoid discards. You just have one-shots. Well, presumably we should save the one-shots that deal damage multiple times until after we got the +1 from the thingy. We could probably just go for it. We have Obsidian Field. The problem is that, like, we do have -1s on Knife and Naturalist right now. We have 2 Predator's Eyes? Holy crap. So next turn we could do, like, 2 plays of Predator's Eye and do a +bajillion. So Knife could do, like, Battlefield Experience this turn, Incidental Contact next turn, and use the power here. Is there any reason to overdo it? That's a lot of damage, so I don't think so. +1 is card. Actually, no. You don't have the ongoing that would say whenever a card leaves play, or the first time a card leaves play, so... So Telekinetic Wallop is just slightly less damage than other effects. Idealist deals it because we don't have any other boosters, and this gets a +2. And we don't have Caliginous form. Let's reduce damage. I guess we have Obsidian Field, so we do have a +1. I didn't need to destroy a Sentinel's card, but that's fine. So Sentinels are the biggest damage dealers right now. If I discard a card, it is put face down in the villain play area instead. So does that mean that this doesn't actually happen if I try to say yes? Because I didn't actually discard 2 cards because it got put face down instead? It's impossible to know. Okay, so we got the Rhino. So the Naturalist has a -1. We could try to set up for a triple effect. Although we don't have the card that cares about the triple effect. We have this power that would like the triple effect, but we can't actually do it because we don't have additional powers. We don't have the Gazelle, so just be regain 2 HP and deal damage, which we don't have Predator's Eye yet. We could do Indomitable Force. Oh no, we can't. We'd have to, right, we can play it with this though. We could just play Indomitable Force now. Potentially saves a bit of damage. It would be what, -3 damage? Oh, -2 because there's a +1 here. So +1, -1, -1, -1. So it's -2 to Naturalist. So like the end of turn 4 damage would be 2. Probably safe to play Indomitable Force. I don't foresee that being deadly. And we're probably just gonna play Predator's Eye, so we want to activate the Croc again. Zillion Tide would have been nice to have gotten in play as well. Say no to that. Get this out. Use this. Say no to that. Velociraptor pack going after Mainstay. Oh, I don't have to activate this, but I will. It's only 1 damage anyway. It's not -2 like from Choke Point, but it is -1. I guess it's technically +1 because of this card here, huh? Each hero target any player with no equipment cards 3 psychic damage. Select an equipment card, put it face down. Alright, so that takes the focusing conduit blade from us. And this is 2 damage to Naturalist a number of times. So I'm gonna let Medico take the damage. I'm gonna let Writhe take the damage. I'm gonna let Idealist take the damage. And then I'm gonna redirect the rest. And by rest, I mean Mainstay, because he's the only one left. Oh man. I was gonna select Knife to remove a card, but because we want to like get all the pluses, but I can't get rid of all the pluses on Knife. So I guess I get rid of all the pluses or minuses on Naturalist, so that there is like a profit this turn. Alternatively, I don't have to play Predator's Eye this turn. I was hoping to do that, but we could just do it next turn instead. Because the big problem is that we lost one of the +1s. Because this was going to have a million +1s, and now it doesn't. So could we give card draw to an Idealist, or not to Idealist, to Knife? And the answer is no, because we don't have Gazelle active. I'll just do this. And we'll still redirect this even though it's +1'd. Thank you for your help, Naturalist. I'll put out a positive energy to support the team. So we do have a Velociraptor pack out here. And they're gonna, it's only ever gonna go after Sentinels. I have so many Dark Delusions, holy crap. But we also have an Environmental Allies that says hero targets are immune to damage dealt by environment targets as long as the Gazelle effect is active. So that's probably fair. Could put out environmental allies and resilient tide. Activate the Gazelle here. And then we would have the Gazelle for next turn in case I want to use this power for someone to draw 2 cards, which, well, we want to be able to play Predator's Eye probably, but I think that's fair. Save a little bit of hit points. So knife can do primed punch, and is this going to be more damaged? It's +1 from obsidian, but -1 from stroke points. It's actually 1 and 1. So it's actually like the exact same damage. Unless there's a +1 that I forgot about, but nope. We are halfway there. Target other than itself at the second highest. Well, we are now immune to your damage. We just saved 9 damage on the environment turn. Yay! Well, you regained hit points. Hey! The target was not destroyed. Environmental allies saved the Velociraptor pack! Yo! Yo! Alright, so who's the highest? Knife. And we don't have redirection here, so we remove the knife card, and then we don't have the +1 from... Or we don't have the -1 and the +1, yeah. +1s, -1s. Okay, so this is the turn that we want to do double Predator's Eye. Because what we can do is... We don't have to do incidental contact, we have this. With double +1s plus the 1 from Obsidian Field, that's going to be 6 damage followed by 5 damage as long as you're not below 10 rather. Which is probably the case. So you want to save that, I guess, for after the +1s. We'll play this one. And just keep doing the minus chain. Hey, Durasteel chains. A little too late for that. Regain hit point. Alright, we're not getting the benefit from the Croc effect here, but... So we're not actually getting as much damage out of this as we would like. I'm still going to activate the Gazelle, though. Because we want that damage immunity from the environments. That's 9 hit points we're saving. I don't want to destroy this card. Energy burn. And then we can do this. When this card is destroyed, you may draw and play. Oh, so you can do all the things. Cool. So you're actually going after choke point right now. Interesting. So if I put you below 14, then that's not the case. We want this to go after choke point. So if I do incidental contact, I'm going to deal 4 damage and supposedly a 4 damage, but I might not actually do that. Maybe. I do this. Get powers. I mean, I can certainly do more damage than the T-Rex would do. Can I get it that the Velociraptor pack? Can I just kill her with greater good? Maybe. Let's see. So if I do incidental so if I do for the greater good plus incidental contact plus, I could do this effect, right? Because we have +1s here. That's 4 and 4 damage. That's 8 damage there. 8 damage there, right? 16 damage, and then the Velociraptor takes it out? Alright, that seems worthwhile. Or I just do Amplify Combatant versus this, which... Oh, actually, this would have killed the Velociraptor, and I wouldn't be able to do that. But now I don't kill the Velociraptor. Yay! And I could... Well, actually, no, because I'm going to hit her more. Yay, we picked a good turn for the +2. We saved it, and it paid off. Maybe. I guess we're just gonna destroy some stuff. This is not an environment target. We're not using that. And we're past this. I mean, it's not that much, but... Save the hit points! This is especially rough to Sentinels. They just took 20 damage. Yay! So what, we ended up only saving 9 damage off of the environmental allies, so we didn't really need it. Although I think Idealist was targeted by the Velociraptors, right? So Idealist would have been dead that last round if we didn't do that. But yeah, it wasn't actually that necessary. But that's good. That's good. Always good to win a game. Always good to win a game. All right, so what's next? Depth charge. Randomized start. Oh, snap. There are bombs in the statues, a bomb in the fountain, bombs in the chambers. Hidden in the seaweed, a bomb. Somehow he managed to attach a bomb to the Kraken. With all the innocent sea creatures down here, our heroes have their work cut out for them. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. I'm just reminded of the Parks and Recreation bit with, I think the guy was from Brazil, maybe? He was talking about all the ways that you can go to jail, where it's like, if you cross the street without looking, jail. If you cross the street not on the crosswalk, jail. If you cross the street on the crosswalk, believe it or not, jail. Like, if you cross me, bomb. If you don't cross me, believe it or not, bomb. All right. So yeah, this is Challenge Mad Bomber Blade versus Redeemer Fanatic, GI Bunker, Absolute Zero, and Sacrificial Tempest. Or Sacrifice Tempest. Or Freedom 6 Tempest, I guess. That's Redeemer, right? That's not Primordans? I think it's Redeemer. Interesting. I don't remember what Challenge Mad Bomber is. Something terrible, right? At the end of the villain turn, put all cards from the villain deck underneath this character card. My bombs are scattered everywhere. You cannot win. Oh, is it -2 damage? It's -2 damage, isn't it? Damn it. My bombs are scattered everywhere. You cannot win. My faith is unwavering. My strength comes from grace alone. I don't like the -2. This makes this so much harder. Whenever a villain target enters play, it is placed under this card, and the top card of the villain deck is played. Cards under this card have no game text, are indestructible, and are not considered in play. At the start of the villain turn, Baron Blade deals each non-villain target X fire damage, where X equals the number of cards under this card. When Baron Blade would be destroyed, his villain character card flips to the Maniacal Death Ray Wielder side instead. And what happens on the Maniacal Death Ray Wielder? When Baron Blade flips to the side, restore him to 40 HP, shuffle all cards under this card and the villain trash into the villain deck, destroy X hero ongoing and or equipment cards where X equals the number of cards moved from under this card. At the start of the villain turn, Baron Blade deals the hero target with the highest HP X energy damage where X equals the number of cards in the villain trash. Whenever a villain target enters play, it is destroyed. But he has nanobot power armor, so he has a damage reduction of 2. Then again, we do have GI bunkers, so it's actually a non-issue, isn't it? So it's like challenge, but not really. We're sacrificing bunkers power for that, but that's probably better. So the clause, cards under this card have no game text, are indestructible, and are not considered in play is one of those weird things that I've seen in mods. It's like mods have decided that this text applies to everything that takes cards and puts them under a card, even cards that are technically destructible. But like in vanilla, in vanilla Sentinels, this only appears on Mad Bomber Blade and on Spite. I think. Right? I think. When you put something in the safe house, cards underneath the safe house are considered indestructible and are not in play and all that jazz. But like, also in vanilla Sentinels, you have things like Omni Cannon. This card does not have the clause, cards underneath this card are indestructible and are not considered in play. Yet for some reason, mod authors decided that that clause should apply to cards like Omni Cannon, which is kind of weird. But anyway, I say this having only played like a handful of mod stuff. Even though there's been a workshop available for like millions of years, I've not done much workshop stuff. I've played a couple of Cauldron games and that's basically it. I don't know, I like vanilla Sentinels too much. Cauldron seems like it kind of breaks the mold too much. But that's just me. I'm one of those, you know, back in my day people. So this is a randomized start, which means that these cards are unknown to everyone. We have a Consecrated Ground, an Embolden, a Final Dive, and a Smite the Transgressor on Fnatic. We have an Ammo Drop, a Decommissioned Hardware, a Grenade Launcher, and a Heavy Plating on GI Bunker. We have a Coolant Blast, a Glacial Structure, an Isothermic Transducer, and a Null Point Calibration Unit on Absolute Zero. And we have a Lightning Slash, an Otherworldly Resilience, and a Vicious Cyclone on Tempest. And this is the one that says destroy one of your cards if you do draw 3 cards, which is interesting, that's for sure. So we can't like take our time in this fight, so like it's probably just gonna be like Lightning Slashes from Tempest. This damage is fire damage, which means that Isothermic Transducer is good. And I guess you're just gonna end up emboldening someone. Unless there's an ongoing card we need to destroy. Like we could have Bunker play Grenade Launcher and use base power followed by Grenade Launcher, so you get a benefit from that. This Embolden is 2 Radiant, so it would be reduced by Heavy Plating at least, which is nice. Alright, let's see what happens. Devious Disruption. It's totally fine because it's a one-shot, because if it was a target, then it would play another card anyway. So you currently have 0 cards under him? Yeah. So he's still dealing 0 damage, which is ideal. Sometimes you end up with a Baron Blade that plays every single one of his targets, which is what, 4, 6, 9, 11 cards that he puts underneath him, and then deals 11 damage to all targets, or all hero targets. Which I guess would be great with frickin' Isothermic Transducer, but yeah. You don't have any damage dealing powers, you just have your card draw there. Yeah, it's gonna probably just be do Embolden. We're not on the side where he's destroying the targets, they just go underneath him. So Ammo Drop would actually be nicer on the flip side, because when a villain target enters play, it's destroyed, and so it would proc Ammo Drop. But yeah, Embolden the Bunker. And then draw. We get Holy Nova and another Final Dive, which the environment targets have 1,000,000 HP, so Final Dive's a bit tricky. keep this one out. Might as well. We can't like take our time here. We have another one. That's good. And yeah, we can't take our time. Plus, anything that we play is liable to be destroyed when Baron Blade flips. This does nothing. Currently he's destroying 0, but that's liable to change. You... Yes, hit Baron Blade. Yeah! We got another lightning slash. Thank you, the Kraken. Oh no, target. And then he regained hit points. Rude. Yeah, if it wasn't for Panzerbuster right now, Baron Blade would be at full HP, and also Kraken would have hit one of us, so. Alright, so Kraken is going to be our friend. That's the good news. We're not destroying the Kraken, he's helping us. We still don't have an additional power, so it's just going to be use Holy Nova, I guess. Not, like, terribly exciting. So Fnatic would like to be at low hit points, but we don't have the card that cares about being at low hit points. Although Definitive Edition does allow for like extra stuff, like, you know, that's one of the changes of Definitive Edition is that like Fnatic now has more things that care about her being at low HP, whereas Wrathful Retribution was the only one where her being at 1 HP was actively beneficial to you. In Definitive Edition, there are a number of cards that say, do a thing, and then if Fnatic is at 10 or fewer HP, do another thing. So that's one positive change from Definitive Edition. Okay. Decommissioned hardware is good. We can get back an equipment later. I'm not doing recharge or ammo drops. I'm doing heavy plating if I want it. It does save damage. Saves the emboldened damage as well. Plus it's something I guess we can choose to destroy later, assuming Baron Blade doesn't do any other things. I'm gonna save the Kraken. Kraken is a friend. I mean, I guess I could hit him a little bit, but... So, you've been dealt 0 fire damage since your last turn, but you're going to be dealt damage next turn. We could do Glacial Structure for fodder, though. I mean, I guess it's a question of if we want it to be dealt 1 damage to deal 1 damage, or do we draw more to find the other stuff faster? It's like card draw is exceptionally powerful, as it turns out. Because, like, in order for us to get the awesome Absolute Zero game going, we need to spend actions to get to cards. Definitive Edition also made Bunker somewhat relevant. Yeah. I've played 1 Definitive Edition game, and I haven't touched it since, but I think we played with Bunker, and he definitely played differently. His modes were now, like, 1-turn effects, basically. You can no longer go below 0 HP, so there are literally no negatives. True. There are no negatives to Definitive Edition, technically speaking. So I don't have to play Coolant Blast if I'm not using it this turn, right? I mean, the other thing is if I get a card that says deal myself damage, like if I get Frostbound Drain, deal damage, deal myself fire, which becomes cold damage to Baron Blade, followed by even more cold damage to Baron Blade. But I could play Glacial Structure and draw to that faster. If we had another Embolden, we could Embolden Absolute Zero and then Coolant Blast combos with your Innate a little bit. You don't have that though. This Bunker's feeling pretty sad right now. 2 recharge modes. And also currently Kraken's going after Bunker, but that's gonna change just simply because we're gonna Lightning Slash, and that's gonna put Baron Blade down to 19 if nothing else. And then Kraken will go after Baron Blade. I think I'm gonna do Glacial Structure. It's a bit slow is the problem. Like I could do 1 damage here. 1 damage is pretty slow, is pretty like small. Like, if this gets me to, say, Focused Apertures, then I get my 1 damage back next turn. Or if it gets me to Thermal Shockwave, it gets me to even more damage next turn. So I think Glacial Structure is correct. I got Thermal Shockwave. I also got an Impale, but Impale is slightly slow, because it doesn't work until the next round. You only bring out Bunker when you go after Oblivion to get the equipment discards. True, Bunker does have a lot of equipments. A lot that you would not normally use also. Like Omni Cannon is really difficult to use, especially against Oblivion, because this takes a lot of time to build up. And when you finally use it, it's like only 2 times the number of cards this card destroyed. Which is a bit like lackluster, relatively speaking, isn't it? The only thing that worries me about Definitive Edition from what I saw is that there's been a lot of hero buffs. Ooh, double Kraken, nice. So like Tachyon's like Lightspeed Barrage now counts all the cards in Tachyon's trash, so there's no longer the burst keyword, which makes that card a lot stronger. I haven't played enough games to determine whether that's like... Is that like a, is that because everything else in a Definitive Edition is a lot worse? Like all the villains do a lot more or something? I haven't checked that much out, but... Oh, true, it also shuffles her trash, so you can't do Lightspeed Barrage until Lightspeed Barrage until Lightspeed Barrage, so maybe that's the rebalance there. Alright, so we can very easily flip Baron Blade, or can we? Like, we can do double Kraken to flip Baron Blade. And he only has 1 card underneath him, so it's actually really strong. So he's only gonna destroy 1 card. Flip to this side, destroy 1 hero ongoing and/or equipment card. And then at the start of his turn, he does a thing based on cards in the trash. So like double Kraken right now kills Baron Blade. If I try to go after him more directly with my own hero team, we don't have that much damage. We lost the lightning slashes. We have 2 damage from grenade launcher. We have like a thermal shockwave that deals 1 + 1 is 2. Plus the base power would also be used probably, so that's 3. So 2 + 3 is 5. So you'd be down to 3 hit points, and then none of these actively deal damage. We can't final dive. The most we could do here is smite to deal 2 damage. I mean, there's also living force field in play, but he's also like, we have Panzer Buster, so this card doesn't actually matter. So I don't have to like destroy it. It's probably better to just leave it in play, because if I destroy it, well, if I destroy it, it gets shuffled into the deck on the flip. And then he's likely to play it instead of some other dead card, right? And then he deals damage based on the number of cards in the trash. So if he plays force, like if we destroy force field on a future turn for whatever reason, it's gonna just increase his end of turn damage. But if we destroy it now, it gets shuffled into the deck, which means that it's a dead card play later for him, which is a bit better. Plus, none of these cards are actively doing anything else right now. So I guess I just do this. I mean, we could save the ongoing destruction for a worse effect. Because, like, Backlash Field is one we want to get rid of because 3 damage is a lot. But we're actually, like, we're flipping Baron Blade, and that's, like, the biggest hurdle with Mad Bomber. Once we're on the flip side, like, the game is massively better and slower. So we got past that hurdle. Thanks to the Krakens. Yay! So I don't have to do this damage. I don't really need to do anything. I have to find a card to destroy is what I need to do. I'm gonna keep the Emboldened most likely. The problem with... like, I can't play Recharge mode because then Emboldened gets destroyed because I played Heavy Plating for some reason. Like, I guess we could destroy a Tempest card. Alternatively, I destroy Isothermic and then I play Isothermic. Or I destroy Grenade Launcher and I decommissioned hardware it back. That's probably better. Or I destroy Heavy Plating and I decommissioned hardware it back. Well, probably Grenade Launcher, because this would actually actively work during Baron's Blade's turn. Interesting. I don't have to hit Baron Blade because the Krakens are going to deal with it. And the problem is, like... I suppose Atlantean Font of Power could do something. Oh, but that's end of environment turns. That's after the Krakens go off. Hallway Collapse is the one that screws things the most, because that puts Baron Blade at 5, and then the first Kraken kills Baron Blade, and the second Kraken goes after one of us instead. But, like, Mystical Defenses deals 2. Oh, but this goes after the Krakens anyway, so that doesn't matter. This increases damage up by 1, so 6 damage would be Kraken damage. Like, we want to try to make sure that the second Kraken kills Baron Blade, and I don't, like, this damage just doesn't matter. I could just hit the Krakens, I guess. We'll hit the Krakens. After I said I'm not gonna hit the Krakens because they're my friends, they're gonna turn into not my friends for a bit. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, 22 is our lowest. We just have to put Baron Blade down to 22 and then the Krakens help us. Krakens are so powerful when you can use them. But I'm still going to keep them in check. So it's 21 that we need to put Baron Blade to. Let's play that one. Got a Frostbound Drain. So I don't need to damage Baron Blade this turn, so I could just heal a bit instead. Which I think is probably like the most effective use of things. Guild Freeze allows us to get rid of the bad ongoing. I guess we could do Cleansing Downpour and then Bunkers a little higher. Sure. Could also just play something to destroy it with base power. Because we're not getting to damage Tempest right now, are we? Toxic Seaweed, though? Yikes. That's a big yikes. Theoretically, Bunker could discard his hand. Because, like, these are 3 cards that can't really be played. Big problem with that is that I just destroyed the Grenade Launcher, but I didn't have to. I could have destroyed like Cleansing Downpour. But if we're gonna treat this like an active one-shot, then I shouldn't rewind. We could just destroy, well, it's too late for that. Yeah, I can't destroy Isothermic now. I do have another one in my hand, but I want to get Absolute Zero set up. Like we could discard Tempest's Hand because like I was intending to play an Otherworldly Resilience, but like there's just a lot of nothing here. How much damage is this? It's 3 toxic per power. We do have Environment Destruction with the Flash Flood, but that does require us to go through 3 other hero turns. And that's going to be 2 powers off Bunker. That's going to result in 2 damage twice. We had Environment Destruction, but we lost it. And we also have Flash Floods, but that's late, as we said. I mean, there's a chance that Bunker draws a new card. And like, it's not like Grenade Launcher is the best power, it's just the Embolden is sad without some other use for it. So let's probably just do Bunker. Play a target. Play a target. Yes! Bunker draws a card! Yes! Adhesive Foam Grenade is totally fine. You don't want the environment to play bad cards, and the environment does have bad cards. Like Pillars of Hercules. I don't remember how this was changed in Definitive Edition. I think it no longer plays a card at the start of every villain, or start of every turn plays a villain card. I don't remember what all it does other than that. It might also not exist in Definitive Edition, because Definitive Edition also just kind of changed cards entirely. It's part of what made me a little upset when I saw like new Mr. Fixer, is that it's no longer OG Fixer. It's now the Pillars of Thor. Makes sense. Yeah, cash in on the Marvel crazy. I've not actually kept up with like movies in the past, I don't know, 5 years. I don't even know what's out there. I've been seeing memes about Thor, but I know nothing about Thor. Yeah, there's not a lot here either. I can do Sanctifying Strike. Basically to draw a card. You're at full HP right now. This Fanatic is a very sad Fanatic. Could do Undaunted for like not much reason. I mean, you are being targeted by Baron Blade right now. For 1 damage, so we can make that be 0 damage. Although you're just gonna heal it back anyway. Like, there's no reason not to play a card here, I think. I mean, I could skip, but my base power draws a card anyway, so might as well do some setup. Although the only setup is Undaunted, which is like... Heroes can play 2 cards, use 2 powers, and draw 1 extra card. Isn't that like... That is what it is though, right? I guess it's like fewer text, which is the whole thing of Definitive Edition, is to like whittle down the text, make things clearer. All right, no environment plays. Thank you. I don't think we're getting Baron Blade below 23. Unless somehow we get a bajillion damage from Absolute Zero. During the environment start phase, the villain plays 2 cards. Okay, so it's not as bad as it used to be, because that would play a card at the start of every turn. You play the top card of the villain deck, so it played a card at the start of the villain turn, then the start of hero turns. And I can definitely count on my hand the number of times that Pillars of Hercules played An Electropulse explosive that dealt 15 damage to all hero targets immediately. I've had it happen. So that's definitely an improvement. I want to do Coolant Blast, or sorry, I want to do Frostbound Drain, but I want Coolant Blast in play first. I want Thermal Shockwave in play also. But we're not doing enough damage for the Krakens to not go after Bunker. And the problem with them going after Bunker is also the fact that Bunker's going to be down to 12, and then he's like, the next goal is to get Baron Blade down to 12, and then if we miss that, then Bunker's down to 2. I guess technically it's heavy plating, so it's -1, so it's only 8 damage. He's gonna be down to 14. We have Cleansing Downpour. We could Flash Flood to be safe, but it's probably fine. So much stuff I want to do here. We also don't have Absolute Zero's +1, so like Thermal Shockwave is just 2 damage. But if I do Coolant Blast this turn, I'm only doing 1 damage this turn, but with Frostbound Drain next turn, I'm doing a bit more damage. If I had a nickel every time Pillars played an Electropulse explosive, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't that many, but it's weird that it happened twice. I love that meme. Have been dealt 0 damage? Yeah. Hey, Tommy's cool. Like, Vicious Cyclone is only really good with pluses, and we don't have the pluses. Like, the only thing that would be nice would be a phosphorescent chamber from the environment to give a plus, and then of course the Gene-bound Shackles to give a plus. But we don't have those. An option would be to destroy one of my cards to draw 3 cards and speed up Tempest's deck. I could play an Otherworldly Resilience and destroy an Otherworldly Resilience. We don't need the hit points, right? Because like we're almost at full. Like, Absolute Zero doesn't care. It's really just like Bunker would like to heal because he's going to be beaten up by Krakens. That's really the only thing. Like, the Cleansing Downpours are going to make it so that the Krakens go after Baron Blade sooner rather than later without having to sacrifice Bunker. Alternatively, we sacrifice Bunker, but the biggest problem with sacrificing Bunker is that then we don't have the damage immunity. I mentioned treating this like a one-shot because this was a one-shot from June 2017. I don't remember what date it was, but it was a one-shot that ended in June 2017. We're just kind of going through the backlog of one-shots that I've missed. I did the card draw on Absolute Zero, and that worked really well. Should I do the card draw on Tempest? Like, card draw is a really strong mechanic because it gets you to your strong cards faster. We also would like Bunker to not die. This power draws. Hey, it's draw. Nice. Another option is we destroy the Krakens and then I don't have to worry about Bunker. Sure, Bunker's fine though. I'm sure Bunker's fine. I can get the Krakens to target Absolute Zero instead. Which, I guess the way to have done that would be to have played Frostbound Drain, maybe? Maybe? Would have put him at 24, so wouldn't have been enough. I'm gonna do this. Also, this one-shot is a randomized start one-shot, which means that the game you're seeing is not the game that you could have had in June 2017. Well, actually, you could have had it, but it's a random seed for everyone. Target. Okay, we got a decommissioned hardware back. Focused apertures would be so good. We've kind of gotten bad draws. Other than like, okay, so Absolute Zero is like, I mean, he just needs a focused apertures and he would be happy, really. Fnatic has gotten a whole lot of nothing. I don't know what a whole lot of something would be, but I kind of would like an Absolution so that her power's not dead. I mean, it's not a dead power, but it's just like card draw, but card draw is strong, right? But I would like damage. We have a decommissioned hardware, so we can get grenade launcher back so that bunker can actually do damage. Still would like to have like extra stuff here, but we have an onboard module, so we could draw a card off that. And Tempest got the localized hurricane, so we got damage there, which is really good. Cool. And a Stratosphere, which if Baron Blade plays an ongoing card, we can now put that on top and slow down his things. Cool. So yeah, Baron Blade's at 39, Bunker's at 14. Krakens are still kind of bad right now, aren't they? We could just redirect their damage to Fnatic. That seems fine. Do I also redirect damage from Baron Blade to Fnatic? She does have a bit of protection, and she has a lot of hit points to go through. That's probably fine. Also, yeah, Undaunted also makes the Krakens deal 3 instead of 5. This is a pretty powerful Divine Sacrifice, as it turns out. I can also hit Absolute Zero, so that Absolute Zero just, for whatever reason, hits Fnatic. That would be hilarious. And we can do it again next turn! Yay! Zealous Offense. That used to be a Handelabra Live meme. I think it was Silverleaf? Is that her name? Zealous Offense was the card that like was awesome, I guess. Or at least, I don't know. Back in the original Handelabra Live, which used to be Sentinels Live, this card was referenced. This would be nice if Fnatic consistently deal damage, but she currently cannot, so. But it would mean that we could make the Krakens not deal damage on turns where they are hitting heroes. We could get the grenade launcher back. I think we want to do auxiliary power source instead, though. Because it's not like grenade launcher is super great. So I'm gonna opt for card draw instead. Alright, well, we got stuff, I guess. We have adhesive foam grenades. The environment's just not going to play cards, I guess. Alright, what is this card? Cold Snap. Cold Snap. So I played Coolant Blast because that combos with Frostbound Drain, but Thermal Shockwave also combos with Frostbound Drain. I can deal myself 7 fire damage. I don't know if this is actually difficult. We got Baron Blade flipped, which is actually like the biggest hurdle. We're kind of struggling for like massive damage, but like I don't think we're like actively like struggling. It's just slow. It's nice that we managed to get Baron Blade flipped, and it was actually thanks to these Krakens that happened, but now the Krakens are kind of going against us. I'm tempted to just do more setup considering that it's gonna be slow. Like, I don't have to play this Frostbound Drain right now. Like, I can wait until I get a +1. On the other hand, Baron Blade could very easily play Devious Disruption, and then all the setup's gone. Unless I decide that he should deal bajillions of damage to Fnatic. Because currently all damage is redirecting to Fnatic. So, you know. It's actually very possible that that would be okay, because this is only 8, but it's also -2 from Undaunted. 6 damage 4 times is 24. Krakens are dealing 3 each. She would survive that right now. And nothing else. But yeah, that's kind of bad. Impale is slightly better for damage directly to Baron Blade. Cold Snap is going to hit the Krakens and the mystical defenses. Oh, 11 each. Sorry. Yeah, because it's not 8 each. It's, whoops. 8 cards in play +3, yeah. But we're probably going to destroy stuff to lower that number anyway, so it doesn't actually matter that much. I'm going to do this, though. I've been dealt no fire damage since my last turn. Rude. We're gonna kill we're gonna kill Baron Blade with 1 damage from Absolute Zero 40 turns in a row. That's what's gonna happen. Keep this one in check. That's not Genebound Shackles. Mystical defenses. Okay. 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 Mystical defenses has successfully dealt 2 turns of Absolute Zero damage to Baron Blade. And we have an ongoing card that we don't like to see. That's the bad news. The good news is we can destroy it. The bad news is to destroy it, I have to not play Divine Sacrifice. We also have this mystical defenses, but we're probably going to Flash Flood it. I mean, we could leave it in play, but it's a little more detrimental to us than it is to Baron Blade. Is it? We can counter it with Cleansing Downpour, but we would have to not use Localized Hurricane. Which means that we would not be dealing 3 damage to Baron Blade. Alternatively, we just ignore it. Is it possible to get Baron Blade down to 12? In which case, the Krakens kill it? Actually, I guess no, because, well... We're not hitting Baron Blade with Bunker unless we decommission hardware the grenade launcher. In which case Backlash Field isn't going off, and this Embolden could just die. I kept it in play last turn, I probably shouldn't have. Did I draw last turn? Is that what I did? Oh yeah, so I did actually use it, that's fine then. Hmm. Ooh, if I do Divine Sacrifice on Baron Blade, then Backlash Field will always hit Fanatic. And that's not really a good thing. Because then it's like, instead of these people taking damage, it's Fanatic. Which means that Fanatic could be lower than Bunker. I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing. I mean, if we sacrifice Fanatic instead of Bunker, then what happens? These incaps aren't like super great. Each hero regains 1 HP does mean that the Krakens will hit Baron Blade slightly faster, I suppose. Oops. Did I accidentally? Yep, I hit a button, sorry. Sorry, I hit a button on OBS. I'm just gonna move OBS to this window, actually. I have this bad habit of hitting things outside of the window. Because I'm actually playing windowed. For reasons. If I sacrifice Fanatic rather than Bunker, I have sacrificed a good character over a bad one. See, the problem is that this power is what's, like, strongest right now. Without this power, this game would be terrible. Because we are playing Advanced, or sorry, we're playing Challenge, which is providing a damage reduction. And this challenge rule has basically been negated by Bunker's existence. But if we get rid of Bunker, then it is actively challenge Baron Blade, and we don't have means of overcoming that -2. Like, it's actually kind of difficult to overcome that -2. Yeah, Bunker is saying deal +2 damage to Baron Blade. So when I say like, oh yeah, Absolute Zero dealt 1 damage twice in the past 2 rounds, well, Bunker basically dealt 4 damage, just we didn't see it. It's the 4 damage to overcome the -2. Now, so how much damage do we have? Can we deal 20 damage to Baron Blade? It's probably a hard no on that one. Because you have no damage outside of potentially reclaiming your grenade launcher for 2 damage. You have the Impale for 2 damage. You have a Frostbound Drain for 3 and 3, followed by a 3. So that's 11 damage. And then we have 3 damage there. And Stratosphere, which would be another 2. That's 5 plus the 11 is 16 plus potentially 2 is 18. It is really close to the 20 though. The major hurdle though is that like this only deals 1 damage. And part of the plan I guess was to do Backlash Field redirecting to Fanatic on other turns. Oh, it's so close. If I do Divine Sacrifice and I target Baron Blade, Kraken, I don't have to win in the next round. I'm kind of like overthinking trying to win, but the environment's not playing a card. I mean, if I opt not to deal damage with Bunker, then the environment doesn't play a card. And if I play into the Stratosphere, then Baron Blade's card play is Backlash Field. So I don't actually need to win in the next round, or this round rather. I can try to win the next round instead. The issue becomes the backlash fields dealing damage repeatedly, plus the mystical defenses. Is this... Yeah, mystical defenses will be damaged by Baron Blade, which is nice. But do we want to keep the mystical defenses out? We could just consecrate ground it. But then the Krakens hit bunker. Could divine sacrifice the Krakens and then leave the mystical defenses out. Because it's at least dealing 2 damage to Baron Blade. So it's not really hurting our ability for the Krakens to hit Baron Blade. I mean, I'm probably just trying really, like, I'm trying too hard to get the Krakens working. It's probably just, like, not worth, but... Let's see, Divine Sacrifice Krakens, that's another 6 damage to Fnatic, plus 3 from the Backlash field. Bunker's not gonna damage Baron Blade, so it's just gonna be absolute 0 in addition. So it's going to be 6 damage from Backlash Field, 6 from the Kraken, 2 from Mystical Defenses. So that's 14 damage coming over to Fnatic. She's going to be down to 7. But she's going to heal off this, and, well, we're not playing that. It's probably okay. We'll also start a turn Baron Blade damage. But if Fnatic does get incapped, then that actually makes it a bit easier on us. It's oddly better for Fnatic to end up incapped. End of days. Absolution. It was 16 cards deep. Black Cannon. So if the plan is to get Fnatic incapped, I'm gonna say no to this then. We did find the other power that he would have liked. But we do also have turret mode, so we could do double powers with that instead. Okay, so if the goal is... I mean, I could just do Thermal Shockwave. I've already dealt 2 damage. So this is actually a bit stronger. 3 damage, and I also heal myself, and then I deal myself 3 and output 3. So it's like 4 damage to Baron Blade. This Cold Snap only does like 1 damage next round. Plus it combos off of the Frostbound Drain next turn. I've been dealt no fire damage since my last turn. Awesome. You can do slightly more damage by hitting Krakens. Oh, actually, these are going after Krakens. Or no, it doesn't. Not environment. Never mind. So we are now at 4? I think I would rather do more damage than to heal, honestly. And then we Stratosphere. And we'd probably win next round. I mean, yeah, we basically put Baron Blade into Kraken range, and it's trivial to do that at that point. Oh no, it's Backlash Field. Whatever shall I do? More damage would be Absolution, but then I have to get Baron Blade down to 3. I mean, Absolution heals me 1. 7, and then Backlash Field puts me down to 4. So I have to put Baron Blade down to 4 for the Krakens to do it. Versus the 6 right now. I mean, we have enough damage with Absolute Zero, right? Like, this is a non-issue at this point, really. We don't have another Stratosphere, do we? We do. We could make this next round also be cake, I guess. That's kind of funny. Alternatively, I could hit Absolute Zero with fire. And then Absolute Zero takes the backlash damage. But then, like, Coolant Blast is powered up. So that we could do Frostbound Drain and have a Coolant Blast that deals 6 damage. It's like we're doing 3 off the Absolution, 6 off the Coolant Blast, 3 off the Frostbound Drain. Actually, 6 off that. It sounds amazing. And then we don't need the Krakens, it looks like. Prayer of Desperation is providing moral support. Yeah, so we just win. Yay! Good. And we didn't have to sacrifice Fnatic after all. And then the Krakens just did nothing in the second phase, so we should have just destroyed them, I suppose. Oh, well. Alright, what's the next one on the docket? Next one is Some Like It Hot. This one ended on the 4th of July 2017! That's like 5 years ago to the day! 2 weeks ago. Ambuscade surveyed the cavern with satisfaction. Stay perform, mes amis. It would be more than just traps the heroes would unsuspectedly walk into this time. His Slaughterhouse 6 were prepared, and the filter team were taking up tactical positions around the caves. With the citizens joining them, the fireworks were soon to begin. Ha, get it? Fireworks? This one-shot requires Villains of the Multiverse. Back issue ended July 4th, 2017. Citizens Hammer and Anvil and Sergeant Steel and Ambuscade versus Raw and Absolute Zero and Legacy in Magmaria. Liquid Hot Magma. Sure. This is not a random start. So if you played this 5 years ago, you're going to remember this match. No time for talk, just gonna burn them all! You shall burn under the baleful gaze of the sun. I think these two people are very fiery, huh? Too much heat for you. Oh, true. Kind of a bad time to play this, huh? In the middle of the European heat wave. It's actually not that bad where I'm at right now, but I shouldn't really talk about that, I suppose. Ra has Excavation, Flesh of the Sun God, Scorched Earth, and Staff of Ra. Absolute Zero has 2 Coolant Blasts, a Field Freeze, and a Sub-Zero Atmosphere. Legacy has a Fortitude, Inspiring Presence, Lead from the Front, and Takedown. Takedown is really strong in team mode because that stops H card plays from happening. Really strong. All right, so what do we have going on here? Citizen Hammer starts with a random position. Citizen Anvil starts with Hammer and Shield. So like, Hammer and Shield provides damage reduction to Anvil, as well as Anvil dealing damage at the end of his turn. And then positions range from utterly terrible to okay to does this really matter? But yeah, Hammer says immune to damage dealt by Anvil. At the end of the turn, deal the non-villain target with the second highest HP 2 fire damage. Anvil says Anvil is immune to damage dealt by Hammer. At the end of their turn, if Hammer is incapacitated, flip Hammer's character card and restore it to max HP. So basically, don't kill Hammer first unless you can kill Anvil next. Sergeant Steel says 2 agents are put into play. Filter abilities are activated by this card and cards from Sergeant Steel's deck. At the end of Sergeant Steel's turn, the filter ability of the villain agent with the highest HP is activated. Then Sergeant Steel deals the hero target with the highest HP 2 projectile damage. And his agents, you know, they do things. They're cool. Ambuscade. We get a Nemesis put into play. At the end of Ambuscade's turn, Ambuscade deals each target next to a snare 3 melee damage. If no damage is dealt this way, the top card of Ambuscade's deck is played. And so we might not have a snare, so we might just play an extra card. Nemesis range from terrible to you exist. So yeah, so the other thing to bear in mind are what are the in-caps. Hammer's in-cap says increase fire damage dealt to non-villain targets by 1. Absolute Zero is happy with that. Anvil says at the start of their turn, the villain target with the lowest HP regains 2 HP. Steel says at the start of each active villain's turn, that villain deals the hero target with the highest HP 1 projectile damage. And Ambuscade is a mouthful. When Ambuscade is incapacitated, all Nemesis are put into play from Ambuscade's deck, that is. And then remove all non-Nemesis Ambuscade cards from play, or from the game rather. And Nemesis cards in this play area still act on Ambuscade's turn. When the Nemesis would leave this play area, it is removed from the game. Alright, let's go. We have Cover Fire. We have Hammer and Shield. We have Sharpshooter. We have Espion Agent. We have Glamour. All right, we have the terrible one. Awesome. And then we have Pyro Hammer. All right, so reduce damage dealt to Hammer by 1, which just means like they both have -1s right now. And when Anvil is dealt damage the first time, Hammer deals the source of that damage 2 fire damage. Cool. Let's see. Sharpshooter, damage dealt by a Sergeant Steel is irreducible when the filter ability is damaged. Espion Agent, Sergeant Steel, and agents are immune to damage dealt by non-hero agents, and the filter ability is discard a hero deck card. If that card is a one-shot, damage is dealt. And Glamour says, the first time a Nemesis card will be dealt damage by a hero target each turn, redirect that damage to the hero target with the highest HP. Which is kind of trash. At least in how it's implemented in digital, because it's The way it's implemented, and I kind of disagree with this, but this is what Christopher wants, so we have to live with it, is that if you deal damage to each non-hero target and there are 5 Nemesis cards in play, that damage counts for each Nemesis card. So Nemesis 1 would be dealt damage, redirect that to the hero target with the highest HP. Nemesis 2 would be dealt damage, redirect that damage to the hero target with the highest HP. Nemesis 3 would be dealt damage, redirect that damage to the hero target with the highest HP. And the reason I don't really like that effect is because I view this as inconsistent with the other times. It says the first time an X would be dealt damage by a Y, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, it doesn't say each Nemesis card, it says a Nemesis card. It should have said each if it wanted it to be that way, TBH. But that's how it's implemented, and that's what Christopher wants. Alright, Ra could play Staff of Ra, probably. Like combat reflexes from Wraith. I mean, that one's technically consistent with that glamour rule just because there's only one card that it affects, is Wraith. Like, in terms of, like, how many targets are being dealt damage, it's only one. Anyway. Another interesting thought is Flesh of the Sun God. Because there's a lot of fire damage happening. Flesh of the Sun God makes all of us immune to fire damage. And so we have fire damage here. We have fire damage here. But not necessarily fire damage here. This is mainly projectile. It does make Absolute Zero a little less happy, but you don't have your isothermic transducer, so it doesn't actually matter. We do not have villain ongoing cards in play, so this is really good because AoE is really good in team mode. We'd have to sacrifice hero ongoings, so we'd have to like sacrifice Flesh of the Sun God, for instance. I wonder if Sub-Zero Atmosphere is good. How many things destroy ongoing cards? That's really the big thing. I guess the other problem is that Ambuscade's start of like end of turn card play happens at the start of turn is the other problem. Like the two things to watch out for with Sub-Zero Atmosphere are ongoing destruction effects as well as end of turn card plays. If either of those things happen, then Sub-Zero Atmosphere is bad. Otherwise, it works fairly well. This destroys equipments. I could look at icons down here, I guess. That just destroys other positions. So yeah, ongoings are safe in that deck. This destroys equipments, yeah. That destroys itself. This destroys itself. What about Ambuscade? This destroys equipment. And this destroys itself? Yeah. Does the environment destroy anything but equipment? I don't think so. Just this effect that does it. Otherwise, Magmarians don't detriment us. Crystalloid Behemoth damages stuff, but yeah. Also, is that fire damage? When it enters play, it deals melee damage, but whenever a hero uses a power, fire damage is dealt. And then this also says deal each target fire damage and destroy equipment cards. That actually sounds interesting. Do we actually want fiery crystallization in this game? Because that's gonna do so much damage. It makes equipment cards bad. So we're gonna play an Absolute Zero game without equipment cards? That's interesting. And Glamour only cares about damage dealt by hero targets. So like the best way to take out Glamour is with the environment, right? I kind of like the Flash of the Sun God idea. The main issue is that it makes Raw kind of a dead turn, because like other than your play, you're not doing anything. You're just using a Flash of the Sun God power. How much damage does it actually do? This is currently targeting Raw, so it doesn't need the Flesh of the Sun God power to be used. And if Citizen Hammer is dealt, if Citizen Anvil is dealt damage, Citizen Hammer retaliates. So I could just not use this power. I could use this power, hit Anvil, and then like the fire damage is negated, and then if Raw is still highest, or second highest, or whatever, yeah. Which is actually kind of hard to predict. Feels a bit better. I could also just not do that. Like, what am I trying to do? Like, if I'm trying to make progress in this game, what's progress? I feel like I generally go after Sergeant Steel first, just because he's pretty weak. Like, he gets out a lot of agents, and the agents are really annoying. And they also are low HP, but Sergeant Steel is low HP. Like, instead of dealing, like, 6 damage to Sharpshooter and 4 damage to Espion Agent, we could do 10 damage to Sergeant Steel, and he's down to 12, and we're, like, halfway to killing him. It's kind of like the big thing of team mode, is that you never really want to focus on the mini targets when you could just take out the main leader. Unless there's a really bad target, but these are not bad targets. Oh, these are immune to non-damage dealt by non-hero targets, but fiery crystallization is not a target. Aha! Told you. Scorched Earth also is good AoE, by the way. We need environment cards in play for that to work. Or just damage boosting, which we can do with Inspiring Presence. Anyway, we were thinking about Sub-Zero Atmosphere and got sidetracked. But the only issue is that Ambuscade does a card play at the start of the turn. So is there something bad with that? He doesn't actually have start of turn effects here. So like the only issue is that the card that he plays, if it does a thing at the end of the turn, it goes off immediately. But that's the same as if he just plays the card at the end of the turn anyway. So like it would be totally fine to have Absolute Zero play Sub-Zero Atmosphere. We could also opt to just skip with Absolute Zero, because I don't know that Sub-Zero Atmosphere is going to really do that much for us just yet. And it gets us deeper into Absolute Zero's deck, which like right now these cards aren't doing that much. Coolant Blast, however, it's not going to work this turn, but it will work on subsequent turns, but not if I'm doing Flesh of the Sun God. I think I'm playing Flesh of the Sun God. I was going to play Staff of Ra originally, but I'm going to do that because it seems like it's actually a good idea in this setup, and I'm going to hire away Sergeant Steel. Oh boy! We're getting lots of filter crap. I'm just gonna hit choose for me. Discard the top card of... I don't want to discard Absolute Zero because I don't want that to be like an isothermic transducer or something. We might not want it, but he needs stuff. His stuff is not good, and we don't want to accidentally discard it. You have stuff that you can play, and you're pretty fine. I think it's Legacy. Is there any reason to target Raw instead? Like, you have stuff to play as well. Imbued Fire would be nice for you to find, though, and we don't want to accidentally discard that. Whereas Legacy, like, there's some nice stuff that we could get in here, like the combo of Next Evolution with the lead from the front that we currently have. But it's not really vital that we find that, because he needs to build to that, and that takes time. Okay, I found it. Never mind, I found it. I chose poorly. I chose poorly. Alright, I'm gonna skip. Draw 2. I could have discarded modular realignment, and that would have been so much better. The 2 villain targets with the lowest HP each deal the hero target with the highest HP damage. Each target which deals damage this way regains HP. Don't think it really matters. Order doesn't matter because it's absolutely 0 second. Cool. And you're destroying an equipment card. Cool. There were no equipment cards. So since Ray Manta is out here, you don't want to play equipments. So you're not going to play equipments, Absolute Zero. You got that? I don't foresee why I don't play Inspiring Presence. That +1 is pretty good. I mean, I'm also getting a +1 here, so +2. +2 is pretty good. I could just play Field Freeze and not destroy anything and still deal 2 damage to everything. I could play Scorched Earth and deal 2 damage to everything with no environments in play. Lots of good things there. Of course, Glamour redirects, but who cares about Glamour? Okay, we're getting Magmarians. We do not have Magma Crystals. Highest HP is Raw because you are immune. Your next damage is prevented though. And Raw is immune. However, this is melee. I find that exceptionally rude. You decided to do a round of Definitive Edition with the same setup I had, aside from the hero variants, and you realized how the previous heroes shined in Atlantis. Cool. Hey, we have 2 environments in play, by the way. I can deal each non-hero target 4 fire damage. And the next damage is prevented, which is actually pretty good because I could target a nemesis with that because that's just going to redirect anyway. There is a damage reduction to Sergeant Steel, unfortunately, is the downside. Which probably means I'd just wait on that, honestly. Just don't do it now. Because this destroys itself at the start of his turn, and then there's not a -1. Yet also, we're gonna get Magmarians like every turn, which means that this is just gonna keep powering up, so I don't have to rush this immediately. I would really like to play Staff of Ra, knowing that I'm gonna be playing a Scorched Earth, but currently Ray Manta's gonna destroy it. And there's no real way of getting rid of Ray Manta because of Glamour. Glamour's just gonna screw that up many ways. Maybe dealt fire damage? No. I could have dealt you fire damage though, so that's on me. But I decided I wanted to prevent damage. It seemed better. Weird. What's this card? Oh. Right, because you discard cards. So actually that means that Excavation is going to be pretty good in like 7 turns. In 7 turns. Once all the Magmarians are in play, we could start putting like fiery crystallizations on the bottom, and then they get played by the environment. And then we get that fire damage that we wanted from the environment. Do I need to make fire immunities this turn? I mean, my next damage is prevented still. I don't have to use that up though. I could play Staff of Ra and then play it to get rid of it and get rid of the thing, but I could also just let Raymantle destroy it, I guess. Like, you don't have ongoings that you can, or equipments that Raymantle could eat instead, so that's just what's gonna be the case, I guess. But I would also like to keep Staff of Ra. I don't know. Staff of Ra is a fleeting thing, right? Like, that's why he has 4 copies of them and 4 summon staves. Is that the idea, is that they're fleeting? Plus, each time you play it, you regain 3 HP, so it keeps Ra alive. This is actually pretty good damage too, isn't it? And if I do Flesh of the Sun God, then you don't deal yourself fire damage. Which, without Isothermic Transducer, you don't really want that fire damage anyway. I think that's actually reasonable then. Hey, summon staff. Yay. We are getting Field Inventor. Discard the top 2 cards of each villain deck. Increase the next damage dealt by Sergeant Steel by a number. Increase the next damage by 2. Okay. Okay, so doesn't matter what cards got discarded. Bastion was discarded. Awesome. That one's terrible. That one's terrible. That one is so terrible. And that one's meh. Is that fire damage? Yeah, that one is actually fine. That one could have been played and been fine. We got rid of more Filter Strike Forces. And another hold a line. Got rid of Hunting Pack. That's pretty good. And Desert Eagle, which is fine. Yeah, he has another one, I know. But it's like less likely that we find it now. Instead of having 2 copies in the deck, we only have the 1. So just like Sergeant Steel. Anvil before Hammer, because we need to get rid of him before Hammer or kill both at the same time. And also if I kill Anvil and Bastion comes out, then Anvil gets resurrected, but then we don't have Bastion. So like, yeah, Anvil for sure. Question is, do I hit Ambuscade or Hammer? Or for one of these for some reason. I don't think I care about those. They're just gonna go away when we kill, I'll just hit Ambuscade. Aha! I'm immune to fire damage. Damage? Hey, we got a snare. Yay. That one's the worst one. Also, it's not even played next to someone. It's so rude. Do we want to stop villain plays for some reason? I mean, like, now would be the time to do it because presumably we're just going to start wiping out Sergeant Steel and Ambuscade, and after that point we're only stopping one card play, in which case takedown has less value. A Magmarian. A Magmarian. There are now 4 environment cards in play. Ow. Okay, so you didn't reveal a thing, so we're not gonna put that on the bottom yet. Summon staff. So let's see, we have 4 environment cards plus the 2 increases from Legacy, so it's 6 damage to everyone right now. And this redirects to Raw, so the fire damage would be negated by Flesh of the Sun God. So we negate one of them. Hold on, does this affect Nemesis? It does. It's actually, okay, no, that's actually good then. We don't have to redirect. We still have to use up the one prevent the next damage from Raw effect from Scorching Snap that we haven't used up yet. But we also, get rid of the enticing target, and then we can hit everything indiscriminately. Alternatively, I wait a little bit longer on Scorched Earth, because it's only 6 damage right now, but it's potentially 8 damage next turn. Potentially, it's more damage. And there's still not, like, ongoing cards to destroy other than, like, these things, which we could destroy Takedown. That makes Ambuscade play a card. 2 cards, even. Yeah, it also takes out Agents. Which... And he's also not playing an Agent. It's still, yeah, it actually takes out the Agents, doesn't it? So then he doesn't activate a filter ability. It's the filter ability of the agent with the highest, which was currently Sharpshooter for 3 damage. And there's more Scorched Earths, right? There's 2 more? Okay. So we use up one of these. And then redirect the other one to the target. Those are the only 2 nemesis in the game, so everything else just goes through. No order matters. And do we keep ourselves? Yeah, we do this because it benefits Absolute Zero right now, too. It's beautiful! We drew another one! Yay! Perfection. So it's going to be Horfire. 4 and 4. Except I deal myself the cold, but not the fire. I could do Field Freeze instead. It's still 2 damage. 3 if I take down takedown. If I take down takedown. Oh, man, that's funny. This is what, 3 damage each? Like, we can actually get Hammer and Shield out, which means we hit Anvil harder, which is cool. I guess the problem with Field Freeze is it hits Glamour and Raymanta, and that redirects to Absolute Zero followed by Legacy or Raw. Or Fire would just hit 2 things. I'm probably not gonna hit Hammer and Shield with that. I just hit Citizen Anvil and Sergeant Steel. I could do Sub-Zero Atmosphere, since Ambuscade's not playing a card this turn, so we don't have that detriment. And then anything that gets played after the fact, like Sub-Zero Atmosphere means that like your end of turn, like your base character card stuff doesn't, like, it's going off anyway, but it still was. But like any other card that says end of turn, which actually there's only one card that says end of turn, which deals fire damage, which we don't care about. So actually that's kind of funny. But then like Sergeant Steel doesn't get a new agent out in time for the filter ability to get activated. So like any agent that comes out doesn't do its thing. Like Infiltration Agent doesn't actually, or Infiltrationist doesn't do anything. So I think this is Sub-Zero Atmosphere then. And I could destroy Sub-Zero Atmosphere with Field Freeze for extra damage, indeed. Hey, null point calibration unit. But Raymanta exists. And now takedown's gone. So actually Sergeant Steel's dying, isn't he? That's Scorched Earth if you don't play like, actually I guess everything you play stays, doesn't it? You don't have a at the end of the environment turn destroy this card thing, so it's actually going to be 8 damage next turn, and that destroys Sergeant Steel directly. So Sergeant Steel's dead. Ambuscade's probably dying to Absolute Zero next turn as well. So we could do some insurance on Citizen Anvil, do a little bit of damage there to help take him out in that next round. I mean, that Scorched Earth kills Hammer and Shield, which means Anvil loses his -1, and then he dies very easily to things. He dies to Field Freeze, actually. I mean, the game's probably over, actually. It's probably over. Cool. Because this is dealing 8 damage to everything, and then this is going to be dealing 2 + 1 from Sub-Zero, and maybe 1 from Legacy. Probably also sacrifice Flesh of the Sun God for that, maybe. That'd be 5 damage to everything. I guess the problem is that Hammer is a -1, so it's not super nice. But Anvil dies for sure. Ambuscade's probably dying to Thermal Shockwave after Field Freeze. Hammer is questionable. I could Thok, but I probably want to play an ongoing for Absolute Zero to eat for slightly more damage, because this is just 3 + 1. I mean, it could I mean, it's -1 to hammer, so it's 3 damage to hammer, but it guarantees that hammer dies to the other things. I guess I have to, like, math it, don't I? So, 2 environment plays, 6 cards in play, plus 2 damage, 8 damage to everything, -1 to hammer. So that's 7 damage. He's at 5. Field freeze, assuming it destroys 3 cards, is 3 plus 2 is 5, -1 is 4, so he's at 1 HP. Thermal shockwave then does it, so I don't have to do Thok then. Okay. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I think the expression is coming to my TED Talk. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Alright. All the environment cards have been discarded now, which means we can entirely control the next environment play. If we wanted. You don't need to. I guess if Bastion comes out, that screws with our plan. Probably should have hit Legacy. He has a -1. There are no equipment cards. Okay, well, no Bastion then. But yeah, that excavation thing, I could put the fiery crystallization on the bottom of the environment deck, and since there's no environment deck right now, that would just be the next play. Problem is I'd have to wait 2 rounds for that to work, but that would deal 5 damage to all targets. But I could also just Scorched Earth. I guess Glamour's slightly bad, isn't it? Is that actually really bad? Yeah. Yeah, the Throng discards, but it goes off at the end of the environment turn. So the only thing I could do is put 1 fiery crystallization on top. Or on bottom / top. And so this card would be played, and then end of turn, this goes off. But we would still get that fiery crystallization in play. That doesn't actually kill us, so it's fine. Does the order matter beyond that? I don't think so. I guess that does also make field freeze risky. Ah, imbued fire. Nice of you to show up now. I mean, I guess I don't have to field freeze. I could just do Horfire. And then Thermal Shockwave that hits Hammer, Anvil, and Ambuscade. And that way we don't accidentally kill ourselves. That is how much cold damage to myself? 1 + 2. It's fine. I'm not dying to that. It's definitely a bit close, but only because Glamour is Glamour. Only because Glamour is Glamour. Alright, let's get all the Nemesis in play. Yay! Magman. Revolt. And that's it. Music's actually lining up pretty well for the victory here. I don't like it when the music lines up like that. Where it just like the music ends as the game ends. That was cool. That was a module-less Absolute Zero. So he does work. We unfortunately didn't get to do the fiery crystallization like we had wanted, but we still managed to get really powerful Scorched Earths. This game really shows the power of AoE damage in Team Villain games. And to be fair, that's probably why Christopher decided that Glamour works the way that she does, is to nerf the power of AoE effects in team matches. You didn't know you could play Absolute Zero without the modules. Yeah, it's really tricky. But of course we were benefited by Ra having Flesh of the Sun God, so that we could use Thermal Shockwave with no detriment. And it also benefited us from being dealt fire damage from Citizen Hammer and Anvil, so it saved us quite a bit of damage. Our HP seems a lot lower than it actually is because we dealt ourselves 14 damage that last round. Or something. 15 damage. 8 to Absolute Zero, 7 to Legacy, and also another 3 to Absolute Zero with that Ore Fire. So I guess it wasn't really that close. I shouldn't have played Scorched Earth, I guess, if I wanted to be super safe. The quote-unquote safer strat would have been to set up that fire crystallization maybe, but that would have involved 2 more villain rounds, and that was probably not necessarily that good. If I didn't lose that next evolution on turn 1, then we could have had lead from the front and next evolution combos to make us immune to projectile damage. Probably. Maybe. Or we could have selected like cold damage so I could do field freeze. Although I can't redirect hero damage, only villain damage, so maybe not. But yeah, that was fun. Well, we played 3 one-shots today, and we got 3 victories. So I've been off for 2 weeks, so I'm sort of caught up to where I should be, quote-unquote. But coming up next time on One Shot-a-thon, we got Killer Long Weekend. I promise to never again lead my super friends to a fun carnival that turns out to be a terrifying death arena of horrors. I promise to never again lead my super friends to a fun carnival that turns out to be a terrifying death arena of horrors. I promise to never again lead my super friends to a fun carnival that turns out to be a terrifying death arena of horrors. I promise to never again lead my super friends to a fun carnival that turns out to be a terrifying death arena of horrors. Question is that Setback saying that, or is that Guys? Literally everyone had that same thought. Nice. Nice timing, team. Great minds think alike. You know, I just realized apparently July 11th was a Monday in 2017, which means that July 18th was a Monday in 2017, which means that actually we're like actually looking at things that happened 5 years ago to the date, as it turns out. Like, this is the one shot that ended on this day, which means that this was the active one shot that started up this week 5 years ago. Infernal Affairs. And if I play Sentinels next week, we'll get to play that. Maybe I'll stick with Sentinels. I don't know. I keep changing my mind as to whether this stream should bounce around Handelabra products or if it should try to be focused on one for a bit. Like, I was debating whether I wanted to do Spirit Island or One Deck Dungeon today instead of Sentinels, and then I just decided to do Sentinels, and it was actually a good Sentinels stream. I'm happy with it. But you can see Unity saying that as well. True. Yeah, Unity is definitely all about the Super Friends. It's definitely not Omnitron U, right? I promise to never again lead my super friends to a fun carnival that turns out to be a terrifying death arena of horrors. I promise to never again lead my super friends to a fun carnival that turns out to be a terrifying death arena of horrors. I mean, it could, I guess, theoretically be Young Legacy. Could be one of the, you know, innocent things that young Legacy does in her youth. Pauline. Yeah, that's her name, isn't it? Yeah. Paul Legacy is the father, Pauline is the daughter. I love Sentinels, but I'm really bad on the lore. Which is part of what the letters page was supposed to help with, except I haven't listened to it in a long time. I remember I used to listen to it when I was driving downtown, but I no longer drive downtown, and I think this was pre-pandemic. Is her name Pauline? Maybe it's not. Plot twist. It makes sense that way because I'm pretty sure. Actually, I guess we could look that up. It should be here. Like, there's information here. The multiverse. Legacy. In 1759, Joseph William Parsons. Oh, up here also Paul Parsons. But Joseph William Parsons was born in Boston. By 1772, he'd be apprenticed to Master Silversmith and Revolutionary Paul Revere. Yeah, stuff. That is a lot of information there, isn't it? But if we look at her, Pauline Felicia Parsons. And then Grandpa Legacy is also Paul Parsons. Cool. All right, well, this is it for this week. Thank you for watching. I hope you appreciated your stay. Enjoyed your stay. Also appreciate it. That sounds a bit weird. I hope you appreciate what I'm doing, guys. No, I hope you enjoyed your stay. This was Dolphin's Dive. We're here every Monday at 7 p.m. We started this stream a bit late because I had obligations I had to do, both with school and with family. But we're normally here at 7 p.m. on Mondays, and I should hopefully be here next week as well. I've had an extended break, but we should be back to it. Check out the other streams we have on this channel. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. is Handelabra Live with John. Every Friday at 4 p.m. is Luck of the Seamus with Seamus the Hug Monster. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. is Spirit Island Saturdays with usually myself, usually John, and usually Seamus. And every Sunday at 6 p.m. is Tales from the Archive with Another Letdown, which is going to be going on hiatus soon for the birth of Another Letdown's first child. I think it's his first. Bye, Felicia. Oh, God. Yeah, so that will be on hiatus. I don't know if it's official or when it will be yet, but yeah, there's a baby on the way. Handelabra products include Sentinels the Multiverse, but also One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, Spirit Island, and One Deck Dungeon. No, I said that already. Bottom of the ninth, One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island. They're all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices. And One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch if you want to switch it up. You can find more information on those games at handelabra.com. You can follow me at twitch.tv/LogicDolphin. or twitter.com/LogicDolphin, or just find me on YouTube by searching for Logic Dolphin. My URL is not Logic Dolphin, unfortunately. I'm pretty much Logic Dolphin on all the avenues. And yeah. That does wrap it up for this week. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.